Hi y'all, welcome to my shop. Today we're going to finish turning this large cherry Burl bowl that I roughed out in April. I believe it's dry now. It's about 12 inches across, and it's kind of scary because of the well, let's look at some close-ups and I'll show you. I say it's dry. I think it is. I think it's dry enough. I don't see a huge movement in it in the change in the tenon, and I think because of the burl and the bark inclusions, it's had a lot of opportunity in my air-conditioned shop to dry out. Originally, it was somewhere back in April. It was somewhere around a little less than 9 pounds. Now it's down to closer to 5 pounds, closer to six pounds, 5 pounds and 15 ounces. Here's what we're talking about that I consider scary. When I look at the size of the tenon I made originally, I don't know what I was thinking. It might have had something to do with this bark inclusion that was worse, so I was afraid to go too far. But I've only got a tenon a bit over 2 inches. Now, I'd be scared to death to use these normal jaws because there's just not enough of a tenon to work with, and it bites into it. But my concern one of the concerns is the ratio of the tenon to the diameter, 2 inches to 12 inches, which is actually less than 20%. What is desirable, I would say, generally be 1/3 to 40%. And I'm going to have to true it up just a little bit to make it a little bit smaller, so it'll be pretty close to 2 inches. What concerns me is I see these little micro cracks along the base here because of the burl movement, and they go probably halfway around. And then I've got this bark inclusion that goes near the bottom here, so I'm really concerned about how strong this would be in terms of when I go to hollowing it out. Could I get if I got a minor catch or hit a bark inclusion or something, would this tenon shear off in the normal course of events, even if I didn't do anything wrong? So I think what my plan is to ultimately create a new tenon for these 5-inch jaws, which will give me considerably more support. That'll give me closer to 40%, and with these dovetails, I think this will be fairly secure. Now, initially, though, I am going to use these bowl jaws, which are only slightly wider opening than my normal jaws, but they've got this very wide face. They've also got a smaller bevel here, and they're dovetail, so I think they will clamp in and hold it initially, and for me to turn around and add a recess in here that I can then use to mount my bowl to finish the outside and to make this larger tenon. All right, let me tear off the shrink wrap that I had on here that forced the drying to the inside instead of the outside to reduce the chances of cracking. So here's the next big scary thing to evaluate. Now we got this issue somewhat resolved. I've got this huge deep bark inclusion here, and I see some bark going down to the side, and this bark's coming around here. I see another significant bark inclusion here. I look on the inside, and this one doesn't look too bad. It's smaller on the inside. This one, that other one, goes all the way through, but it does stop. It doesn't come up to the rim. So it looks bad, but I think I can safely turn this because I do have considerable strength here and here, even though it doesn't look like it from this side. Okay, we've got it mounted on the tenon, the existing tenon, without change in these 75mm jaws. I've got a little bit of gap because it's gone oval, but the gap looks uniform on both sides. So there's a couple operations we've got to perform. We've got to true up this rim so we'll know exactly what we've got to deal with in terms of thickness, and also when we reverse it in that recess we're going to put in here, it'll help us determine whether or not it's running true. We've got it chucked up properly. And then obviously we've got to put this recess down in here in the bottom that'll fit those 5-inch jaws, which are the largest jaws I've got. If I had some 6-inch or 7-inch, might even be even better, but I don't have those. And then take the rim down, so I'm going to move the tool rest where it's centered. The center of it is centered here. Turn it, make sure it clears. Okay, and then we're going to use a 1/2 inch bowl gouge, and we're just going to arc it over until we get it trued up, and then we'll come back in this direction once we can ride the bevel on a flat area. Alright, so I've moved my controls just almost to the right hip. I can just almost bump it and turn it off without having to reach across the bowl if all of a sudden I see something that seems kind of worrisome. I've got my speed turned all the way down, as low as it'll go. Now we're going to slowly ease the speed up. And I'm keeping the speed somewhat low, no more than about 600. I'm going to come in here with this 40-40 grind and just start sweeping to the left. What that surface looks like. Okay, it's cut, got a little more cutting to go here. A little bit more there. Looks like I've almost got it trued up though, so we're getting there. Now that we've got it somewhat flat, we can ride the bevel, make it a tool, lift the tool till it touches, and then ride the bevel, and push forward. Back that, do it again, like that. The next operation, and the one that's a little scarier to me, so we're going to put a little more stress on it, is we want to smooth out this wall just a little bit until we true it up. Now we're going to true up the inside, the top third. We're going to brace it with our fingers, the bevel at 90 degrees. All cut. To tell you the truth, it might even be easier to take that initial cut with a scraper, the same one we're going to use for doing that recess. So we're just going to come in here. I'm not going to push it on this particular cut. I just want to get a feel for being able to see that correct rim on the inside. Now we're going to go ahead and come in here and make that recess. I'm going to bring the tool rest up a little bit so we can come in there with a scraper. It's a negative rake. Lock it down good. We're going to come in perpendicular, just make a square shoulder, angle down slightly, and there we go. Wow, this is a pretty small scraper. Kind of jerking around a little bit. Let's see if we. I'm going to use a magic marker so I can see it. Okay. And I don't need to go very deep to get a good bite. I just need to make sure I've got it all the way around. And I do. I think that'll do it. Okay, there's the bowl. I'm going to do mount this in the recess like this, and not and then put this on the lathe. I think it's easier for me to see exactly what's going on. Now, normally I advocate for the Record Power and the Nova jaws to cut off this ball, but the purpose of this ball is to allow you to be able to tighten from back behind when it's deep-seated like this. So this is the one time where I've actually have an opportunity to use that use that functionality. And what I've discovered by checking around, the Allen wrench size is exactly, I'm not sure what it is, I think it's 8mm. It's exactly the same size as what's required for me to assemble the legs on my Powermatic. So I could get in here with an Allen wrench if I had to, if the headstock would permit it. So I'm just going to snug this up. It doesn't have to be super tight, it just has to be snug. And now it's snug. Now let's put it mounted on here and see what it looks like. It looks like we've got it running true, and that's where that flat rim helps us evaluate that. So I'm going to look down sideways and see how it moves, and it looks to me like we've pretty much got it. Okay, so now I can add the tenon for those 5mm jaws and finish the outside of the bowl with this thing being mounted fairly securely. So I've measured, this is the size tenon I need. I'm not going to mark it on here because it's bar conclusion. I'm afraid it's liable to grab it, but it shouldn't. But I can tell it's just about 1/8 of an inch. I've got to come down, so I think I can evaluate that without too much trouble. So let's go ahead and do that. We're going to start with a 1/2 inch bowl gouge, and only when I get that tenon created will I get rid of this one, because this is my backup plan. We're just going to come in here. Not going to go very deep because those jaws, I think they only, you've got to keep it within no deeper than about 8mm. So now I'm going to use my detail spindle gouge to make sure I've got a nice clean dovetail. Move it back, make sure I've got a nice flat registration surface. Okay, I've got that tenon. Now I can go ahead and laminate that tenon in the middle. Got the bottom cleaned up, ready for a little bit of sanding. I'll come back and sand this all together. So now I've got to true up the outside, and that's going to be the biggest challenge. Although I think I've already taken a pass or two, so I don't know. Doesn't look like it's going to be as off as I thought. So. Okay, I'm still experimenting with my 5/8 inch detail, or my 5/8 inch spindle gouge, so I'm going to give that a try. I've just recently sharpened it, so let's see how that does. It may be too much steel on this wood. I may need to go to something smaller. Let's give it a try. Hot chips coming off, I think I'm going to have to resort to a glove. I'm getting a pretty good surface. I'm fairly pleased with that, despite all these bark inclusions and the different densities. I've got a few tool marks, but all in all, I'm pleased with that. I'm not sure that there's anything on these tool marks that can't pretty well be dealt with by sanding, except a little bit here. I'm going to try my shear scraper on that. Let's give that a try. start that sanding, but we got it nice and even. I'm happy with that. Okay, I scrubbed a few really rough areas that had some tool marks and concentrated spots due to, something on the surface here with 80 grit. I power sanded with 120 grit using my Woodturner's Wonders angle drill and their ultimate sanding system. Now for the remaining grits, I'm going to blow through them fairly quickly, I think, with this centrifugal sander. Okay, I've sanded up to I think 280, 320. I want to put some decorated band on here, but I'm not sure. I don't have a big enough beading tool, so I think what I'm going to, and I want it to be fairly wide, so I don't want to go through the basket of illusion kind of drill. It takes a lot of work. So I think I'm going to space two smaller beads a ways apart. Let's see, and I'm going to mark those with this point tool. Let's see how that works. Let's hope it's not a major mistake. Put one right here. Just ease it in. And then come back about 3/16 of an inch, maybe. Almost a quarter of an inch. Matter of fact, let me just look at that. Maybe I just want to repeat that. That's not too bad. But I think I am just going to just move on down a little further and repeat that, and not get carried away with a bunch of bands. Didn't get a really good deep groove here because of some sanding spots that took a little extra care. So I may come back and get that a little bit deeper. Now come down here and make another one just like it. Roll that over. Roll that over. And I think I'm happy with that. I've got these big calipers. Let me go down to the bottom and see how thick it is down here. Give me an idea what I might want to do. Oh gosh, it's real thick. Real thick. So I've got a lot to hollow out in the bottom, and I may get rid of this foot altogether. Now I want to decide how I want to handle this rim. It's fairly flat, but I may want to put some decorations on it. I'll just kind of decide what it is I want to do. And I think I may just put a small bead right here is what I tend to do. So I've got to clean this up a little bit. I've got a little bit of tear out here. I use this real small bowl gouge that does not put a lot of steel on the wood. Let me see what kind of effect I get with that. I'll probably wind up doing some shear scraping, but let's give this a try. Bracing with my little finger. Okay, I got a pretty clean surface with that, so I may still got a little bit of damage. I think I'll still come in there. Maybe let's try that with my shear scraper and see if I can improve that surface any. right there. Camera angle, I think, is a little bit misleading. So I'm going to go down to that. So this allows me, well, it's not as deep as I thought. Let me double check visually. Okay, that's as deep as I want to go hollowing. That's not as bad as I thought. I must have measured it wrong. So I've only got about ½ inch, 5/8 of an inch deeper to go. All right, so I'm going to use. We're going to start with a, I think a ½ inch. No, this big bowl. I think I want a bigger bowl gouge. I'm going to use my 5/8 inch, and yeah, and here we go. Sand this before I finish getting this too thin, so let me do that. Start with a somewhat coarse grit to get rid of some tool marks. I'll do this by hand. Okay, now that we got the rim treatment handled and sanded, I'm going to go back with my 5/8 inch bowl gouge and start thinning it out. I want to come get up underneath here. Nice shadow line. Try that smaller gouge. I'm not hanging that far off the tool rest just yet. This 40/40 may give me a better cut. You try to use a bottom feeder to get rid of some of that. That's a gouge that's ground fairly straight across, fairly traditional grind. What's fighting it? Marks at the bottom. I got a bark inclusion there. Yeah, I got a bark inclusion showing up. I don't think I noticed before. And we may switch to a bowl scraper for the bottom. Here, down to there. I'll lift the tool rest up just a little bit. It's just a conventional scraper. Let's bring this in just a little bit here. He is, don't get too aggressive. Like that. Still got that transition area here that needs working on. Right in there. Bottom doesn't feel too bad. Let's check it out. My preset depth gouge. No, I still got a little further to bottom, so. Refinement on some of those bumps with a scraper. Now I'm ready to do a little sanding. I'm going to, because of the bark inclusions and some of those transitions, I'm going to start with 180 grit, with 80 grit. Let's take this bowl off and reverse chuck it. We're going to use the traditional method, and that is using a friction chuck. So I've already got one mounted on another set of jaws. Little nib there to center it on. Now, it'd be easier if I'd marked out the tailstock, but then again, I didn't know I was going to be taking it off. I thought that was going to be it. So let's give it the pencil test. Okay, got it centered here, but I've got it rotated. I've got that little donut slipped out of place, so it's making this off balance. Okay, I like that shape. Now I've got to figure out exactly what I want to do about profiling the bottom. And let's go back and check it again. Almost, I've still got a little bit more to take out here and here. Let's do that. Find a place to lock it. There we go. Now, the rest of it, we'll put a sanding mantle on there, or we just use the power sander right here. And then I'm just going to use this little tube. I'll probably hand sand this around that curve.